fun begins.
How's it going?
Hello.
Well,
Greetings, young Jedi.
hello there.
Hey everyone, Hybrid Toy Reviews here, and today we're taking a look at the Star Wars The Black Series Imperial Praetorian Guard as they appear in Season 3 of The Mandalorian. It was really cool seeing these guys show up in the show, implying that there's a little bit of a lineage going on to the Praetorian Guards that we see in the sequel trilogy. I'm really excited to crack this guy open. I'm just excited to see what they did, what they've used, what they've made, what they've reused. So there's some potential that there's some older parts here. I've seen a couple of reviews, but I want to see some of this stuff in person. So let's go ahead and open them up, see what we're getting here, and get into this review. And here we have the Praetorian Guard in the packaging. We've seen this packaging a million times before. It is your standard Black Series look with your Black Series logo up above a big window showing him and his accessories off nicely. Star Wars The Mandalorian in orange across the front and in the background. He's number 43 in the Mandalorian line. His name, the Imperial Royal Guard, or the Imperial Praetorian Guard, my bad. 4+ Hasbro. No more warnings on the front of the box? Are we done with warnings on the front? They used to always have a warning. That's neat. On this side of the box, there is a artwork of the Praetorian Guard looking super cool, and his name below that. On this side is your wraparound window, wraparound orange stripe, your Black Series logo below all that. Around back, you have your Black Series logo, a zoom in of that side art, his name, and a bio in varying languages. Pause and read whichever best applies to you. He's number 43 in the line once more. Bunch of legal stuff. You got your Hasbro logos, your Disney logos, barcodes, and more legal stuff down below. Nothing super special there. Little hanger tab up top. Again, we've seen this before. Let's open them up and see what we're getting here. So here's the Praetorian Guard out of the packaging. As always, we're going to start by taking a look at the accessories, which there are two of. One of them is this like whip accessory. It folds up into a sword in the show, and then it breaks apart into a bunch of whip pieces. And I kind of wish we had gotten both the versions, because I would like to have the sword option. I think I like the sword option more than the whip, although I get that he doesn't really use it as a sword that much, but it is what it is. It is a bunch of silver rectangular, chunks held together by these black links, and then there is a handle which is very katana inspired, which I do like. You actually get a little bit of purple paint on alternating sides of the links. Kind of gives it a little bit of an energy look. Nothing too crazy. It's subtle, but it's there. So yeah, that's an option for an accessory. It's just like, it's very much a battle pose option, and I kind of think I wanted to get the three of them to kind of have somewhat neutral standing on the shelf, so might look into a custom option for just a unused, a not an action version, if you will. So that's cool. And then he comes with the bladed weapon here. So this is a long handle. It's got a little bit of a spike on this end, and then a angled blade on this end. This is in a gray plastic with a little bit of silver added for the blade, and then a kind of sort of like a bluey silver added for a couple little accents here and there. And then there were 3 Praetorians in the show, and they all appeared to have different weapons. As you see, there's a line in the middle of the handle. One of them had one of these that was popped in half, but this one does not pop in half. So if you pick up a third one, you're probably going to have to get creative with the X-Acto knife and dock it there. Just have 2 of them holding this and pretend in the show that he, had it put back together or whatever. Kind of wish they would have included that just to cover all their bases here, but maybe we'll get a Amazon version down the road or something. You never know. So it is what it is, but it's a really cool accessory that I do like. So that's a nice accessory as well. We're going to set those to the side and take a look at the figure. So when you look at the figure, the first thing that always hit me, and I mean just looking at the character in the show, is he has a very first order looking chest piece, and that is fair. I mean, that is very first order looking, with the 5 dots or the 6 dots on the side and the clips on either side and the little like upper chest, middle indent. Around back, he has the play and the pause symbols, and that's very first order, but it is not reuse of a first order chess piece. Thank gosh, those are a little limited. They actually did make a new overlay. It just looks exactly like one. Kind of makes me hopeful, or maybe I'm just wishful thinking, but it is the 10-year anniversary of The Force Awakens. It would be a cool year to give us a brand new First Order Stormtrooper with the modern trooper treatment. I mean, I would buy a lot of that. I would probably get rid of all of my 2015 First Order Stormtroopers if they did that. So Hasbro, please be listening. So yeah, other than that, The second thing you notice, he's very red, right? He's got a kind of a maroony kind of colored undersuit. It's like a dark red, almost black. It is a very nice colored undersuit. And he's got some very scarlet colored, armor going on. He's got these really cool shoulder bells and upper bicep pieces, and the gauntlets are kind of first order looking as well. Not first order, but Imperial Stormtrooper looking. It's a blend. He has a really cool helmet. Kind of gives me sort of like old knight, styles, but it's also a little bit Mandalorian inspired, and just a lot of kind of varying designs being blended into one. But it is a really cool helmet design. Spinning it around just looks really, really cool. Do like that helmet. There's no removable head or anything. It's actually hollow up until you get to where the socket for the ball is. So yeah, there's no chance for anything going on there. Kind of a first order looking ab area. And then you have these little like hip plates here. He's got some soft goods going on. He's got this like front flap, and then there's like a wraparound skirt. And then it's kind of like a cape, but it protrudes from underneath of the chest armor, or the back plate. So yeah, it's kind of a unique design all around. I do really like how this guy turned out. He is really cool, but something very frustrating, I will say. All this up top, new, right? There's all sorts of new going on. When you get to the legs, we're just gonna get there. There is a little bit of reuse going on with the legs, where he has the this tab on the side. These, from the knees down, are the old Praetorian guards from 2017, which is a fine figure, but they gave him these new upper legs, right? So they sculpted a new piece that has a pinned double joint on it, but they took away the thigh swivel on it. Now, I've been in camp. I don't care that thigh swivel's gone. I've said it a bunch of times. I'll say it again. But you need it on a figure with the double pin knees, because, if you can't swivel it at the thigh, if you can't turn here, fine, turn here, whatever, as long as you have a turn somewhere in here. There's no longer a turn in this entire leg. We'll get into the articulation segment and I'll show it off. But that's just poor judgment on Hasbro's part. I still think most battle poses you'd want to get him in, you can. It just kind of cuts a lot of the more dynamic ones. But yeah, that is high-key annoying, not gonna lie. So, other than that, he looks good. And for my purposes, where I'm just gonna have three of them kind of in a neutral pose on the shelf, that's fine. But I feel like they could have done better. And that's a little unfortunate. So, anyway, enough harping. That's really the one real gripe I have with the guy, other than, the weapons. I kind of just wish there's more options. But yeah, let's run through some articulation, see what we're getting here. So he features the double ball neck, which allows him to look that far up, which is pretty good. And then bury his chin and side to side, and all the attitude you could ever want there. He can bring his arms up to a T-pose and a little higher. Not a lot of figures can do that, but this guy sure can. He features the shoulder pads on the post on the ring, which goes in the shoulder joint. So it will actually travel with the arm 360 degrees, doesn't get in the way anywhere. There is a single jointed elbow, which goes way past 90 and then swivels at the elbow, 360 at the wrist, and the left hinges in and out, the right hinges up and down. There's a mid-torso ball joint, which allows him to crunch that far forward, that far back, which is pretty good, side to side, and a bunch of pivot side to side. His legs, we'll flip that front flap again, can kick out that far. That's not too bad. Then go straight forward, not much back. Like I said, there's no thigh, so it's on a ball joint, so there's like a tiny bit of pivot you can get on the ball joint, but it ain't great. Double jointed knees, do have really good range on him. He can kick his own backside for what that's worth. But again, no turn at the knee, which means no turn in the leg at all, which just sucks. Like, at least give us a boot cut at that point, right? So then the feet can point that far down, that far forward, and there's a forward-facing pin for rocker, allowing you to get some pretty decently wide stances with both feet flat on the ground. Yeah, definitely a little annoyed about the leg options here. It's not going to personally affect me that badly, but I just know that, that's just a bad combo. It doesn't help me with my argument that it's not needed articulation. So for some size comparisons, here we have his victim, Paz Vizsla. Here is the new Moff Gideon from the same wave. Here is the Imperial Armored Commando appearing in the first episode. I gotta say, it is really nice, at least having the Mando, like, Season 3 finale getting fleshed out. And then here is the Glavis Ringworld Mando. As you see, he's pretty much rocking right at 6 inches, maybe just a nub above. And I think that's pretty good, all said. Can't really gripe about the height. So at the end of the day, what do I think of the Imperial Praetorian Guard? Not gonna lie, I mean, for what it is, it's okay. You know, that leg articulation was definitely a bad call from whoever designed it. I'm not calling for their head on a stake, but maybe a write-up, you know? I mean, we gotta do something about that. But I do generally like how this figure appears. He looks very nice. He has that nice glossy red finish going on. I like the soft goods on it. I know some people really don't like soft goods, but I do like the soft goods. They all lay pretty nice on this. The new parts are really nice. I like a lot of what's going on here, but there's just some annoying things that I don't like so much. So, I don't know. You win some, you lose some. I think this is one of those figures that is good enough. I'm not gonna like mega harp on it, but I just wish they did it better. You know, I feel like that's a tagline that just fits this. You know, could be better. So yeah, ultimately that's where I'm at on it. It is what it is, and it's cool enough, but I just, you know, I could have done better, as Doctor Strange said. So that's all I really got to say on it. Thanks a bunch for watching. It means a lot that you did. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that end of video stuff. You know the drill. I'm going to go work on something else now. So until next time, may the Force be with each and every one of you, and goodbye.